As you may have noticed by just looking over here, it's fall. And one of the best ways to enjoy fall is from the seat of a bicycle. I want you to imagine you're outside riding on your favorite route, the wind is blowing in your face, the sun is cascading through the trees and illuminating the leaves on the ground. When you hear a hissing sound, and you slow your bike to a stop, and you look down at your tire and realize it's deflating. You have a flat tire. Now, maybe you've been in this situation before, or maybe you know someone who has, and they've had to make that call of shame for a ride, or a walk of shame, pushing their bike back to their car. One of the most important things a cyclist needs to know is how to change a flat tire, including the proper tools and equipment, the knowledge of how to use them, and the steps to take to fix that flat tire. Knowing how to fix your own flat tire will come in very handy when you're the person who's stranded on the side of the road, having to make that call or having to push their bike back to their car. And nothing hurts the mind of a cyclist more than having to push their bike anywhere. Before leaving on any ride, you'll want something to carry your tools and equipment in, like a saddlebag. You'll need the proper tools and equipment. You'll need the proper tools and equipment with you, and then it's simply a matter of popping out the inner tube, placing in the new one, and inflation. So first thing you need is a good saddlebag. The saddlebag has to be small. You don't want it too big because it'll slow down your ride. Another thing that's very important to cyclists is time and speed. If you do need a slightly larger bag, you can try side saddlebags or even a bike frame bag. There's several different types of bags out there, and I'm confident that you'll find one to suit your needs, as well as one that looks awesome, as style is also one of those things that's always on the mind of a cyclist. Next up, it's time to get our hands dirty. So we'll need our tire rods. We need to get the old inner tube out of the tire. So first thing you need to do is take the lip of your first tire rod and slip it under the lip of your tire. You can lock that tire rod in place by clipping it onto one of your spokes. Taking your second tire rod in the lip, flipping it underneath the tire, and sliding it around the tire. This will take that lip off of the tire, off of the wheel, but keep the tire on your wheel. Now we need to get the inner tube out. You can push in on the nozzle of your tire, of your tube. You can grab it. And then you can pull your inner tube out. Now that we've got our old inner tube out, there's one very important step. It's a small step, and I didn't know about this step when I first started cycling. And there was one instance where I had just changed my first flat tire. I rode about a half a mile down the road, and I heard that hissing sound again and looked down, and the tire that I had just changed was flat again. You want to take a small cloth and you want to sweep the inside of your tire to make sure that it's clear of any sharp debris. According to Bicycling Magazine's mechanic Mike Yozel, you take a small microfiber cloth, sweep the inside of the entire tire, and that will make sure that any sharp rock or anything that got in there that popped your inner tube in the first place won't be in there to pop your next inner tube. So now we want to get the new inner tube in place. You can start by feeding in your nozzle first, and then pushing it under the lip of your tire and into the wheel. Easier said than done. It's very important to make sure that you get your inner tube in the tire and in the wheel frame, and that it's not being pinched off by the tire. This can cause a flat also later down the road. After you've inflated your inner tube, it will be pinched by the tire. And now that you've got your inner tube in your tire, you want to squeeze around to make sure that your tire and inner tube are firmly in place. Which takes a little muscle. full of me. Now that you've got your tire in place and with your new inner tube, it's just a matter of inflation. You'll want to inflate your tire. Well, first you'll want a good pump. There are two different types of pump. You can have a small hand pump that attaches to your bike frame. These are pretty reliable and they're inexpensive, but they're also very cumbersome. It takes a long time to fill up an entire tire using a small hand pump. I recommend a CO2 pump. They're small, lightweight, can fit in a saddlebag, and can fill a tire in seconds. One cartridge will fill just about one tire, although it's still good to keep an extra 1 or 2 cartridges with you just in case. You'll inflate your tire just a little bit first, just enough to go through one last time and make sure that your tube is in place with your fingers. And after that, you would inflate it all the way. And now that you've got your tire completely fixed, you can put it back onto your bicycle, and your credibility is improved significantly as a cyclist. A big part of being a cyclist, as I've briefly mentioned throughout my speech, is that almost condescendingly attitude of knowing everything about your bicycle and cycling in general. And executing a flawless and timely tire change will really establish that credibility. So now next time that you're out enjoying a wonderful fall ride like this, and you hear that unmistakable hissing sound come through, you may just smile at the chance that you'll have it changing your first flat tire.